Hello, good morning. Earlier we were talking about best practices for design ops. I will not promise to tell you best practices. I'll tell you my practices or ServiceNow's practices in design ops as an example of how design ops can be organized in a larger company. I'm Peter. This is not about me. I'm not responsible for design ops at ServiceNow. I'm a user of the DesignOps services in Amsterdam, in the Amsterdam office. So I won't spend a lot of time talking about me, but I'm going to make you guess which one is which of these are true and which one is a lie. In the early 90s, I created my own master's program called Information Ergonomics. Maybe true, maybe a lie. I have presented at more than 40 conferences, but never further east than Berlin. Maybe true, maybe a lie. Or for 3 weeks, I designed the website prototypes for the government of Jamaica in Kingston, Jamaica. One of these is a lie, two are true. You can think about them, and at the end I'll tell you which one is a lie. So this is not about me. This is about the impact that the design ops practice has at ServiceNow, the company where I work. I'll go through each of these words, starting with design ops. And that's scary because there's 21,200 definitions of design ops if you go to Google. There's at least 3 schools of thought when it comes to design ops, and I'll go through them quickly. One is it's sort of like DevOps. DevOps started when development started to speed up, delivering to the group, the operations group that needed to keep stuff alive. So the operation stuff in cloud companies and the development team started working together so that the developers could see what was happening to their stuff. The operations team could give them feedback on what worked and what didn't work, and they started to work together and delivering really fast. Like Amazon does, every 2.3 seconds they release a new version of their sites. Another flavor is sort of it's like management. You just make sure that your designers are happy. You make sure that they have the organizational bits in place, like career ladders and your one-on-ones and team culture and stuff like that. That's another. People say design ops is basically just doing good management. And then there's the roadies approach, where it is about the team that makes sure that the designers can do their job better. Like the band is like the stars are on stage, the roadies are backstage. They have the roadmap. They made sure the trucks arrive. They have the guitar studio in the back, stuff like that. I think it's a mixture of all 3. But then I needed to pick one definition, and I picked this one from the Nielsen Norman Group. If you Google design ops definition, by now they put this as the #1 hit because it's pretty encompassing. And it's from their. It's an article, Design Ops 101. It explains that. Design ops is about 3 things: making sure you organize how people work together, including working with other departments, how the work gets done. So how do designers do their work, and what tools do they get, and then talking about it and measuring outcome. So that's the 3rd one. How work creates impact. You can find this all online. You don't have to take pictures. But if you use this definition, there's one line that they added, and it is very sneaky. And this is also a way for me to test whether the sound works. There's no sound at this slide, but at the next one. They sort of do a disclaimer and say, the shape of design ops will and should look very different from organization to organization. This is what I say when I teach workshops about design process. The design process for every team is different because the context in which they need to do their work is different. Same is true for design ops. Every design ops organization should be organized in a different way. This is also why this is not the best practice. This is one practice of how we do design ops. Yours should be different. This is also a cheap way to say it depends. Every time a designer says it depends, put $1 or a euro in the swear box. So that's design ops, at least the definition that we'll use today, or that I will use today. Then a little bit about ServiceNow. Our slogan is We make the world of work better for people. We make work better. We organize the work that teams need to do, and not necessarily the teams of designers, by supporting them with workflow automation. We automate the work. We tell people when it is time for them to do a next step in a series of activities, the workflow. And our promise is that when people work better, the quality goes up. Business works better. You make money. So this is what we do. We have a platform. We have a platform, the Now platform, that knows about all of the stuff that's in the company, employees, IT systems, the org chart, customers, stuff like that. And we have a workflow engine that allows you to define workflows and tell people about it when they need to do their work. On top of that, we build applications. I need to point this way, I think. We build applications initially for IT departments so that IT tickets can be solved. Like my phone isn't working, my license has expired, I can't find the file on my hard drive, those kinds of tickets. Or even software development tickets like Jira, like this bit is broken, you need to fix this bug, there's a problem here, a customer complained about this. We then started moving and supporting employees, so in-house employees, what happened to my ticket? Or I can't find the policy about company holidays. Or do I have Christmas off, yes or no? Hopefully you do. And then we moved over to customer workflows supporting people outside of the company that we support. So companies, call centers and stuff like that. So not just the IT desk, but also external customers complaining or questioning or wanting to upgrade their subscription and stuff like that. And we expanded quite a bit. So by now we have a lot of products that all are based on this workflow engine plus stuff, specific applications, and there's like more. I need to point. But this one, IT service management, so solving tickets or requests or incidents, still gives us a large percentage of our business. I'm not allowed to give the exact number, but we want that number to go down because we want to diversify. I want to support more and more departments. We've just, in March, we launched solutions to help financial departments do their workflows. So monthly closing of the books, stuff like that, or weekly if you want to. What does it look like? Like this, a list of incidents, things that need to be fixed. With subscriptions, Outlook is down, or stuff like that. And then someone needs to fix it. So there's a group of people assigned to fix it, and then there's status information, and then things get solved. And if you're like an agent with a headphone, you get one of these lists, and you need to go through them one by one and solve them. If you go through them, or if you go inside, it's basically a form with fields about the problem that you're trying to solve. You can chat with other people about it, and it's not super fancy yet. When it gets used, we generate data. So in Amsterdam, we have the office that does the reporting and analyzing the performance of the system and of the people. So you get pie charts. We hate pie charts, sorry. I shouldn't have used an example with the pie chart. They're the most meaningless chart most of the time. So it's not rocket science. Still, we got selected as in the Forbes Top 100 Innovators as #1 last year. Sorry, I was picking my nose when you took that photo, sorry. This is Fred Luddy, the founder of the company. We were #1 in the top 100 innovators by Forbes. So we do something right, apparently. Gartner, in August of this year, said we're #1 in the leader quadrant for the IT service management. Apparently we do that bit really well. Just earlier this week, is it still Forbes? Fortune, thank you. It says so on the slide. The Fortune Future 50 of this year. ServiceNow, #3. We apparently do something right. So I don't know, it's not rocket science, but we do it right. It's rocket surgery or something, I don't know. And we have fans, and there's a fan who talks and makes little videos about how he likes our platform. And the next version, or the most recent version of our platform, is called New York. So it's a New York Minute, and I'm going to show you, show you and let you listen to a clip. And the clip is about multi-select breakdowns. Doesn't really matter what it is, but listen to the energy of this guy.
Hey everyone, welcome to another New York Minute. I'm Rob Fedork, and it is so good to have you here. Folks, I'm really impressed with some of the quality of life improvements ServiceNow has been making to New York, and I'm super stoked to talk to you today about multi-select breakdowns on PA dashboards. Because prior to New York, you could only break down a dashboard by a single element. One choice list, one value, that's all you got. Now you can go to a dashboard with a breakdown, and you can check as many as you like. It even works on both choice and reference fields. And you want to know the best part? It happens automatically. No new plugins, no reconfiguring past dashboards. As soon as you apply New York, you've got this capability automatically. I'm just absolutely gobsmacked with how good this one is, folks. I don't even have anything else to say. So whoever's responsible for this,
give that man a cookie. This is a fan who's super happy that we made multiple select possible in a certain drop-down field. Before it was single select, now is multiple select. That's it. It is at a very core level of our platform, so it took a lot of work. The guy who designed it is this guy, Motaz. He works in Amsterdam, and he's like, okay, I did this, but I didn't expect anyone to make a YouTube video about my redesign of this. So I will give him a cookie. Thank you. Thank you for that reminder. I'll give him a cookie. So I mentioned New York. So New York is our next release. Every 6 months, or not our next release, it's been launched. Every 6 months, every product, and you saw the list of products, every product gets a new version. So every 6 months, there's a team of people working on a product, making the next release. And in the meantime, they're preparing for the next release. So every 6 months we release all of our software again, and there's teams of developers, designers, product managers, quality assurance, everyone working together with our release program team to coordinate everything, and we name them after cities. This year, on top of like the usual releases, we have an extra challenge. We're moving from this like lists and forms interface to a more modern interface. Hopefully, we can get Fred Lelly on the Forbes magazine again. And it's like more modern. It's more modular. It's responsive because it's the other one is a little fixed, quite fixed. You can plug in components and plug out components, and but it means every screen that we have needs to move to this new UI paradigm. And we have a lot of screens. I'll show you later. So that's ServiceNow. DesignOps at ServiceNow. First, a little bit about design at ServiceNow. We call ourselves the experience organization, or first design experience organization. So the EO, experience organization, is our design department. In 2004, when the company was started, no designers. 4 years later, 10 designers. 4 years later, 20 designers. 4 years later, 2016, 50 designers. Then we went to 200. We acquired a company, we grew massively. We got a new CEO who said, all our products should be consumer grade, like your iPhone app. And those lists and forms aren't really consumer grade, so we're gonna need designers. So we hired a lot of designers, and by 2020, hopefully we'll be with 300 people. Today, we have 257 designers. Designers, researchers, so a lot. And around this time, we realized, I'm just going to use it. We're going to need DesignOps. We're going to need a bigger boat, that kind of thing. So around this time, we started thinking about DesignOps and organizing it within the company. And a little bit about the org chart. Where does design live? We have a CEO with, next year we'll have 10,000 employees. Some people reporting to him include the chief product officer. Each of those have sort of 2,500 people reporting to them. Then the head of design, very important man, Greg. He runs the 257 designers. He owns the 257 designers. Below him are a group of people, some sort of individual people, because there's this one big project that they're managing, and they report directly to Greg, the head of design, and then a couple of directors, senior directors, and a VP. That's sort of the level of people that report to him. And then there's typically, if you have a senior director, then you have a director reporting to you, director or a couple of directors reporting to you. They each sort of manage 10, and then there may be a design manager in between. And an individual UX designer or a researcher. So 1, 5, up. One of those directors reporting to a senior director is Arnold, and Arnold is the director of DesignOps. And he has a senior manager, 2 senior UX people, and 6 program managers reporting to him. And this is the DesignOps team. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people. That's our DesignOps team at the core. I'll tell you a little bit about other departments that also do DesignOps-y things, but this is DesignOps at ServiceNow. What do these 10 people do? They provide these services. They help with the definition of ways of working, our processes. They help support designers, so instituting ways that designers get support. They do program management of larger projects, programs that help designers become more effective or help the organization become better at what they do. And they communicate about design ops stuff. I'm going to show you some of these services in a little bit more detail, starting with the design project lifecycle, which is our design process. And I'm a design process freak. I could talk about this bit really long, but I'm not going to do this. I'm really going to restrain myself in doing this. I'm only going to show you this slide. We have 3 phases: understand, ideate, build at the highest level, then some more phases underneath. For each of these phases, we've defined activities that people should be doing, and some of them are optional in each project, because this is what each design project needs to go through. And then we've defined deliverables. I really need to restrain myself to talk more about this, but I'm not. So we've defined our way of working, the way the designers work, and that means we've also defined sort of the edges where designers work with other people. Trust me, that's covered as well. We have a review process. We want to, like I said, every 6 months we deliver a new version of our project, of our software. We need to make sure it's good. So we need to review all of our work. So we've installed a team and a process, and we call them DIRT, the design review process. It used to be design experience review process, so DIRT. And DIRT, I can show you the whole description, but it's basically, they're the design police. They check whether your design is good enough. They have an official process, like a 4-step process, or if you go deeper and involve like all of the responsibilities, product management, designers, the design review team, and the engineering team, they all need to work together to go through this review process. All of the stages and some loops in. We have that defined, and since we like to keep track of what we're doing, we have a dashboard where you can see the state of the review process for all of the design work. Because, like I said, every 6 months there's a lot of design work that needs to be done. It needs to be tracked. So we have a dashboard that says we have deadlines, targets. What else do we have? How many design projects do we have that have DIRT records? We create a sort of a ticket to see whether a design project has engaged, or a design team has engaged with the DIRT team to to review their work. That means there's a record for it. What is the state? For each department, how many projects do not have an approved design? That number should go down. The designs that require review should go down over time. And then there's more like, how many projects do we have? We have 175 that actually have engaged with the DIRT team. And then there's, at this stage, at some point, there was 50 that have not engaged with the DIRT team. So design tracking everything. We have a calendar where you can, as a design team, can say, hey, I want to reserve a spot to talk to the review team. They have it's their calendar, and if you're working on a mobile team, if you're working on a mobile project, you can pick Wednesday, 10 o'clock in the US. So 7 o'clock in the evening here in Amsterdam. You can talk to the DIRT team about mobile work, and you can claim that slot. Or if you work on Workspace or Create a Studio, there are different slots for different teams every week. Every week you can reserve one of these slots if you think it's time for you to go through this review process. You can sort of sneak in between as well. We've also, we try to keep track of every project outside of the review work. We try to keep track of the state of every design project as well. And for that we have installed the design workflow tool. The tool again starts with a dashboard. For every team, they have there's a count of how many design projects they have. So the platform team has 76 design projects at a certain stage in these 6 months time. And other teams have fewer projects. Again, the details aren't super important, but there's like a lot of stuff on this dashboard, including what size are they, what priority do these projects have. We keep track of the work. If you work, for example, in the PAR team, which is the Performance Analytics and Reporting team, so the team in Amsterdam that keeps track and creates these kinds of dashboards. At some point in time, I don't know if there's a date anywhere, no. There were 5 projects for the team here in Amsterdam. 5 projects, you can list them all, so click, list. I had to blur some of these because they're a little bit sensitive. So the status, so for which version? Orlando, New York, Paris, Orlando, NOP, New York, Orlando, Paris. So for the Orlando release, the stage of the process is kept track. Their priority, when do they need to get this DIRT review stuff? Everything is tracked. If you go into one specific project, click. You see at the top there which stage is it in: intake, discovery analysis, concept, UX architecture review. So this is just before the DIRT review. You can see it's the PAR team, the priority 1. It's an execution project, so it's not super strategic or anything. It's a medium size. The team is known. If there's been an early research stage, then here you can find the deliverables of the research work. IDH, so this is the normal design stage, and then at some point there's final deliverables and DIRT. Which stage? That's sort of what you get to see about each and every design project. If you go even further, you can go into the screen flows and the mock-ups.
I have a question.
Yes, ask.
Microphone. Yeah.
Microphone's here.
All right. Okay, so this design process is very structured.
Yep.
And sometimes design processes go all over the place.
No. Yes, they do. Yeah.
So how does this kind of work with keeping that in mind, especially for design?
The definition of the design process is sort of high level enough to allow for loops. And you can go back in time. If it turns out that you go into the detail stage and you say, oh shit, we forgot something, it's okay to go back. But it needs to be tracked. You need to be honest and say, hey, actually, as a team, we need to go back. So you go back, and the design managers and the design ops team knows. So it's okay to go back and loop and be fuzzy. The end goal is that by the end of the release, like at the end of these 6 months, it's done. Or at some point, if you realize this is too complex, the project just gets stopped or canceled or moved to the next release. So fuzzy is okay. The phases are large enough to sort of be messy in between. But there are some stage gates. There are some gates where you need to go through, and some of them include the design team, so the design review team. So fuzzy and messy is okay, but we need to track where you are.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
Okay. So if you want, sorry, yes.
If it's okay, I have a question based
Yes.
on her question. How do you manage to give all your designers enough time to basically write all that down? Because if you're in a hurry, you have a deadline, a tight deadline, how do you manage that they still are, keep track on all of that?
So what you see now is like a lot of text on a lot of screens. A lot of this is generated automatically. And some of it is done like by the product managers. They need to write some of the stuff down. Some of it is just checking a box or a little drop down. I can go back one. Like if a project is going to the next stage, I can almost jump on here. This stage UX architecture review, it's a drop down, you select the next phase and then automatically it goes into the next stage. You don't have to do a lot. Creating links to the actual work. Like if you have low fidelity sketches, yes, you need to have a link where you need to say, edit, paste the link, done. So it's not a lot of work. And we have a team that keeps track of this. And they will remind you. And like I said, so we try to make it not a lot of work to keep the administration up to date. And we have a team that helps you remind it. And like some of it is not the responsibility of individual designers, but their managers. So when I was managing a team of 5 or 6 designers here in Amsterdam, every Tuesday morning I had a 20-minute meeting for myself in my calendar, a reminder, say, check the design workflow tool, see if all the projects' statuses are up to date. If they were not, I would go to the designer and say, hey, aren't you like in the next stage already? Oh, yeah. Drop down, select, done. So it's not necessarily a lot of work.
Thank you.
We try to make it not a lot of work, partially by automating it. Workflows. Yes, in this case, it's workflows, and we have a solution for that. So I'm not supposed to say we eat our own dog food. We drink our own champagne. So we already had it because it's our own product. So if you want, you can click, and then you can go into abstract and see like all of the old versions of the work. So this is where most of the work is being done, like in abstract or in your own design tools. But this is the administration layer around it. So I said we have this big project to move to a new UI. Because of time, I will go really fast through this. It was a lot of work, let's put it this way. I said we had to move a lot of screens from the old UI to the new UI. It's not done yet, it's work in progress. A lot of working with product management in doing inventories of screens, moving them over and prioritizing them, etc. So a lot of prioritization work, and then the designers came in. Then the designers came in. We did design jams with the designers where people would identify common patterns and start to design and sketch those for this new UI. So a lot of flows, click, click. We had more than 50 people work for 2 weeks, and then another 2 weeks working on moving stuff to the new platform. And it's not done yet, definitely not done yet. So this is an overview of what the DesignOps team does, but there's more. And this is where I may go over time a little bit, because we have 4 more groups of people who also do stuff. If you look at this definition of DesignOps by Niels de Norman, these people contribute to that work. And they're the design system team, the business ops team, our insights team, and a leadership team. I'll go through them really quick. You know about design systems. So the design system team is another group of, another group of a director, 4 managers, 4 senior UX people, a development manager, and 6 developers, plus 10 more designers. So 25 people working on our design system. You know what design systems look like. It's like a list of components, and for each component you have an example code, and you can play with it a little bit. You can download the code, or developers have access to the code, stuff like that. And for us, we also have usage and design specs and usability for each of these components. So it's a well-documented library of patterns. So they do documentation of components, work with developers, and they have their own office hours where you can ask questions in Slack channels and stuff like that. We have a team that's called the BizOps team. They really are the business types. Compared to designers, they're definitely more business types. They do things like headcount, finance of the design department, making sure that I think I have a list of things that they do. They help with hiring. They help with annual reviews. They developed a career ladder and so progression of designers. I'll show you an example. They do in-house events. They have their own newsletter. They do sponsorships. And going to conferences and hiring people on the spot, stuff like that. So annual reviews, we have Excel sheets to do your own evaluation. We have career ladders with stuff for everyone at ServiceNow, for everyone in the experience org, everyone from IC1, associate level, so individual contributor 1, to senior staff, and there's a column 6 for principal designer. So a lot of responsibilities are defined. If you can do them well, maybe it's time to move on to the next level. They have their own newsletter with announcements of new hires, and Greg, when he every month he says something to motivate all of us. We go to conferences where we have our own little stand, where our own little desk, where we tell people about ServiceNow and try to hire people.
Underwear?
Sorry?
Underwear?
Underwear? Socks. No, I'm not wearing the socks. Socks. What's in your mind? Our designers are, or some of our designers are, or some members of our experience org team are actually researchers. So we have a senior director of research with a director, 4 managers, and 19 researchers. They do things like research programs. They have a participant pool or find participants. They have a design partner program. So they have like massive PowerPoint decks with research outcomes, which I won't go through a lot. You'll see in our community that product managers are asking people who are using our software to whether they want to become design partners, so that we can talk to them, we can show them prototypes, get their feedback, we can ask them how they're working, what their organization is set up like. It's a design partnership program. I can tell you more about it. The research team has a research lab where you can say, hey, I want to contribute, I want to help, and they can fill out surveys and stuff like that. The users are usually software developers in-house in large companies that have a license to our software and implement it in-house so that their employees can work better. Sometimes it's external partners that do it for these companies if they don't have this service in-house. So our buyers are usually the CIOs of large companies that say, hey, this is a good software for our employees. Let's buy everyone a license. Yeah. The last group that I want to tell you a little bit about is the leadership, the top level people of our design department. So definitely the director of DesignOps, but also the other people that report to the head of design, and I'm one of them. We set goals for the organization, for the experience organization. We make sure that we align with other departments. We make sure that people get promoted when it's time to promote them. And we promote ServiceNow in general. So this is what the leadership does. So Greg writes articles, in this case for Forbes, and we pay for it. We pay to do that, but yeah. Like long article, blah, 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 blah. Greg Petrov, he's our head of design. So we promote ServiceNow in business settings. So all of these teams work together to help designers work better. Now, last thing, I'm out of time, so the impact quickly. What is the impact? People know about our services, and here's some quotes from designers. DesignOps impacts my every day. Good. I'm able to get approvals of my design straight from the tool, in this case abstract. I don't have to typically hunt down every individual party. So we connect the designers with people who need to approve their designs. For our design system work, DesignOps ran the daily stand-ups. So this is like the program management or the project management, or we help designers become more professional so they can just focus on their own work. We select tools. So the DesignOps team selected Miro as a tool to do initial creative work. So designers, there's impact on designers. There's impact on design managers. So one of the DesignOps people has been helping my team establish a daily stand-up and keep our team up to date using a visual task board, sort of a Trello board, but one we made ourselves. DesignOps is working to help me get official content review. So in-product content is becoming a part of the design review process. So UI text, basically. Another quote from a design manager, leadership says, we get the newsletters, we appreciate them, we don't always thank you for it, but we do get the newsletters. They help us get a feeling for what's happening in the design org. So design leadership, and I'll share these slides later, is also impacted. So last thing, 2 lessons learned. What should DesignOps do? Well, the DesignOps services, we do this. If we asked people, we asked our designers, our 257 designers, what do you think has most impact? And it's this, the design review and the Slack channels, they're most effective. So make sure you do something like that. And then the next 2 are program management and the newsletter. Make sure you do those as well. So those are sort of in the 4 corners of ServiceNow's DesignOps team. We got those covered, but we can do better. If you look at so the bold ones in this definition of DesignOps 101, the bold ones is the ones we're doing. So we're covering those except for collaboration, apparently. But again, this line, the shape of DesignOps will and should look different from org to org. So in your case, what did you say? It depends, okay. Last one, do I need DesignOps? Does my organization need DesignOps? At some point in August, Peter Merrill said, you probably don't need DesignOps until you have about 150 to 200 people. We said at 50, like you're definitely going to need DesignOps. It turns out, and I'm happy to explain later, that later in October, the same Peter Merholz said, with 10 folks, you want to start looking at DesignOps. And I can explain why. So at 10 people, so if you're sort of here, do you need DesignOps? Well, we go back to this definition of DesignOps by Nielsen Norman. Not every organization needs DesignOps their role, so you don't need someone with the job title, DesignOps person. But any team needs to DesignOps the mindset. Every team needs to think about organizing their way of working, of supporting designers, of maybe automating stuff or meeting with aligning with other departments. Any team can benefit from DesignOps the mindset, and that means that you in your place can make the world of work better for your people. And that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
For your talk.
Thank you.
Is there an exciting thing that I guess we should probably...
Which one is a lie? Which one is real?
First one is a lie.
First one is a.
Yes.
I thought the second one.
Anyone thinks that the third one is a lie? I was sent to Jamaica for 3 weeks. I also created my own master's program called Information Technology. This is a lie. And I've spoken in Moscow, Prague, Riga, Sofia, Stockholm, Vienna, and Warsaw. That's all east of Berlin. So.
Not in Jamaica?
That's Westman. That's Westman. Okay, I think I went over time, so I don't know if there's time for questions.
I think people can find you during the...
I'll be here, yes.
Yeah, because we are running a bit over.
Yeah, no, so done.